my guest to come on. Mary will send in a request soon. But hello everybody, how are you guys doing? I missed you guys. Oh, how is everything? How is family? Hi. Today I like to say happy birthday to friend Norma Ifanga. She's 40 today. There are lots and lots of 40 this year. In fact, at the end of the year, we all should just have this nice 40th birthday hangout by God's grace. Hi Sade, Doris, I see you. Wow, experience my peace, and that's Gloria for life. Hi, yes, so Gloria says our song. Yes, our song. Yes, so Bumi, the official Marilyn. Thank you guys. I'm waiting for our guest, Mary, to. Yes, there she is. I think she has sent in a request. Hey, Mary. Okay, yes. Mary is coming in. I'm going to try to pin the topic today. Mary should be coming in very soon. Hi, Mary. Go Mary, go Mary, go Mary. It's a birthday. How you doing?
Good. How now?
Good to have you on the show today.
Same here, Mariah. How have you been?
I've been great. I've been very great.
Awesome. And the kids?
They are great. I'm trying to write our topic today so that people who are joining us know what we're talking about. It says, can we Africanize feminism? That's our topic today. So
okay, take your time.
I'm doing that now. So I don't remember. Okay, yeah, there it is. Okay. So Mary, I hope you're ready for us. So I won't stress you too much because the objective of this.
I think we're just gonna have a conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a conversation because I wanted us to get some clarity because there's a lot of confusion out there on what feminism is. Not even confusion. People simply just cringe when they hear the word. And we want them to be clear. We want them to understand that, listen, this is something that everybody, both male and female, should be on board with. So I think I would like to start from the basics that, in your view, what is feminism first? Let's start with the definition of feminism. In your view, what is feminism to you? Let's start with that.
Well, I think feminism is not a very difficult subject. It's just that sometimes we in Africa, we tend to complicate something that really that is pretty much straightforward. And I understand why. And for me, my personal view, this is my own ideals of what feminism really is. I see feminism as, it's just a belief. You know, when you believe that men and women should enjoy equal rights to for men and women to enjoy equal rights as human beings. You need to make that very clear. They need to enjoy equal rights as human beings. And when we talk about enjoying equal rights as human beings, it's just even something right from the creation of the world. When God said, let us make man in our own image. And then the Bible went further to say, in the image of God and in his likeness that God made them. He went further to say, male and female, he made them. So even for Christians, you need to understand that there's some kind of complementarity when it comes to both sexes. So when we, leave the subject and start treating the noise around feminism, that's where we begin to have problems, But
do you feel that we have actually, we as Africans have been the one guilty of twisting the definition of feminism? Let me tell you why. Because it seems like in the West, their definition is clear. Back in there was a time where it was about political equality. Then there was a time it was about commercial or office politics or office equality. Now there's something called social equality, which is what they're doing in the West. But here, we've not really defined what are we fighting for. What's the difference between women's rights and feminism? Is there a difference? Are they different or the same thing? That's the issue? We're not sure. Are we fighting women's rights or fighting feminism? Can you help us differentiate between the two?
Women's rights are human rights, first of all. Let me sit properly.
Yeah, it's okay.
And then feminism is actually, it's just what I've said to you.
Yeah.
And people should just not make it something else.
Right.
You're basically saying, let the girl, let the boy, let the man, let the woman, let everybody enjoy equal rights, equal access, equal everything as human beings. Because first thing you are is a human being. And this does not in any way preclude the fact that we understand that we are not the same. So sometimes I think people misplace sameness to equality. Equality in the attributes of what we can do with our mental capacity, what we can do with our creativity, what we can do with our God-endowed purpose and talents. Then there's the other thing of sameness. We are not the same. I tell you what, as a woman, I can get in the gym now and try to build my muscle from now to tomorrow. It would take, it may never even happen. It may take forever, and I will still not achieve it. But the guy, my husband gets into the gym, and then he comes out so toned up and muscles everywhere. This is the differences. There are places we are not similar.
Right.
So let people not confuse sameness to what equality will be. And when people converse when we talk about feminism, people also tend to think that feminism is just for, you're talking about just females. I believe that every gender, every sex is kind of gendered. A guy is gendered, a woman is gendered, and I'll tell you why. You see, in the past, there are vocations, jobs that people naturally feel, that is a woman's job. Hairdressing, nursing, cooking, and all of those. But when I go to the salon, I'm in Abuja right now, but I have to braid on top of my dreadlocks. Why? Because my stylist is in Lagos and is a man. In the past, we won't be having this kind of conversation because the man won't even feel proud to be a stylist. But you see, women are very, very accommodating. If you go to the salon, the way the young girls accommodate the male stylist, there's no discrimination. We go to the salon, we're actually very comfortable with the man doing our hair. We don't discriminate against them. And this is all thanks to feminism. It's just saying, let the man and the woman, let the boy and the girl enjoy equal rights as human beings.
Okay, I get that part, Mary. We all get that part. But see, I want us to address why it's so confusing here in Africa. And that's why we're talking about how do we Africanize feminism? Because when we hear feminism over here, it's almost as though we are saying that women want to dominate, women want to challenge the lifetime prejudice we have experienced. And do you think the feminists in Africa generally have taken the right approach? And that's my own number one worry, Mary, that I think we're putting the cart before the horse. The feminism that we're somewhat trying to adopt internationally, they started first with finding political equality. Now, when you find political equality where a woman and a man, we have equal numbers of both male and female in certain political positions, it builds confidence in the women folk. Then you go to corporate equality, where women are now more CEOs and more top management. It builds confidence. So when you see you're in a society where you're seeing that half the governors or quite a number of governors are women, quite a number of CEOs are women, it builds that confidence. So you can now start talking about social equality where you can treat me equally. But here in Africa, we don't have political equality. We don't have corporate equality, but yet we are demanding feminism. So I'm saying, should we take a few steps back? First things first, before we start screaming equality and equality for this, let us first all demand political equality. First, let's see more women governors. Maybe that will begin to send home the point of how we can then begin to challenge lifelong prejudices and subconscious bias so that people know. I mean, am I making sense? That's my own confusion. I feel that they're just taking feminism from abroad and they're not domesticating it. That's my worry.
Okay, your worries are quite in order. But you know what? What you are proposing may even make it impossible to achieve equality at the end of the day. Because right now, I'll give you an instance. Okay, look at the political parties that we have right now, PDP, APC, and the rest of them. If you look at the women in those political parties, there are women in those parties, and there are women there. Now, every time you hear that APC or PDP, they're having a convention, do you ever hear that one woman is running for chairman of APC? You don't get to hear things like that. So it's a very long way to freedom. So when you're talking about achieving political power before fighting feminism, you are actually the one. It's actually going to be almost impossible because, first of all, you need to deconstruct the patriarchy to the point where the young girl already understands that she can actually aspire to leadership. If you don't do that, because there have been so many years of what I will call historical imbalances. And those historical imbalances are things you would need to take care of. We need to address them. And I tell you what, this is the part that a lot of Africans, the men, Nigerians, are very, very weary of. Because when you address those imbalances, they think they are going to take over the privileges that they have been enjoying. Men they're enjoying a lot of privileges. So this is where this whole, drama and, stories.
Can you give an example of the privileges? Can you give an example of the privileges men are enjoying today? I mean, some people are confused to tell you what privileges are they enjoying. Give us an example.
What privileges are they enjoying?
Yes, the men.
Okay. I mean, the privileges, when you the thing is that right from home, a guy is already raised differently. If you go to a primary school or secondary school today, in fact, I've been to one and I'm asking the head girl of the school, would you like to run for office in the future? She just shrunk. But you speak to the boys, they are ready.
Okay.
And these things don't just happen. It is a social construct that tells you that a guy thinks that he can easily, you can see a guy who, how would I put it, without sounding condescending on the men. Right. You can see a guy who doesn't even have leadership skills. But because he's a man,
that is where
he is expected to lead. I've had people that say they are told that you can't go into politics because politics is for men. Now, that is what you call social construct. And people have been socialized in this way that you begin to enjoy those long-term privileges, and you may not even realize it, Mariah. I can tell you something that even you, look at me and my husband, who are living in Millennium Estate in Lekki, phase 1. When we are driving out in the morning, my husband is driving and maybe I'm in the passenger seat. Where our gates, the security men is on the side where the passenger seat is, where I'm seated. And then you will hear them say, "Monsa," and I'm right there sitting with my husband in the car. I am insignificant.
Let me pause you for a second, Mary. Let me pause you for a second. You see, is that social construct, that perceived insignificance that I want us to focus on? Because men, because I've spoken to quite a number of men feel that this thing we're saying is in our head. That it's not real. That we are the ones constructing it because it's a perceived bias. Because let me give an example. We all watched the video that went viral about that young lady that was harassed by the police. Her boyfriend was arrested and he was being spoken to with decency. They were talking to him and he was still standing. But the young girl they hit her head. They asking her when they disvirgin you, asking her stupid questions. Remember that video went viral. And people now were not objecting that why were they treating the woman like that? Is it because she's a woman? When you're talking to the man, you're talking with him, he was standing, he was still dignified. But the woman was on the floor, rolling, they're asking her questions on how was she this virgin, who's her boyfriend? And the perception was that, it was a sexist sin because they treated her that way. But you see, we cannot really tell, we can't really tell for sure that entire thing was sexism. We don't know. It's an assumption, it's a perception because of the way we're treated. Is it possible that they treated her that way just because they felt that she's a young woman, or she's just because she's weak or something? But we have a perception that because she's a woman, that's why she was treated like that. So my question to you, Mary, is that this issue, are you sure it's not just us thinking that we are being discriminated against subconsciously? Very quiet.
The network, really. I was waiting for you to land, so I couldn't hear you.
I'm so sorry. You didn't hear everything I said.
No, I didn't hear the last part. Maybe the 2 lines.
So I'll just say that, is it that this perception out there that that men have it better, we are being discriminated against, is it are we the ones thinking it that way, or we are the ones we are blending our culture with westernization? I want us to leave this conversation defining what feminism is in Africa. Let us be very clear. Also, considering our culture and our religious bias. Let's start with that. So, in your view, how do you agree with me with the perception?
Well, I definitely know that it is not in our subconsciousness, for a fact. I also know that there is patriarchy, deep-seated one. And I am not a woman who is lacking in knowledge and for work of hands. I mean, in my career, I'm a successful person in that area.
Right.
Nobody has stopped me from achieving my dreams, right? Now, that also goes back to the way I was raised. Because there was no difference between myself and my brothers. My mom had a salon, and my brother was also, my brother had to learn how to make hair. So my mom didn't say, oh, he's a guy or is a woman. Every one of us were raised the same way. So equally. And that's really what it is. And when you see, and then I happen to marry a man who is equally from a 50-50 family. I could remember something that happened in our first year of marriage. A friend of ours, a family friend, we all got married at the same time. So this guy was coming to our home with his wife, his new bride. And then when he got in first, it was just my husband and I. There was no kid at the time. So this friend of ours came in, the guy came into the house first. And then when he came in, he screamed, he shouted my husband's name, and then my husband responded from where he was. And guess where he was? He was in the toilet. He wasn't using the toilet. He was actually cleaning it. He was scrubbing the floor. He was cleaning the house.
Okay.
And then immediately the guy saw my husband doing that. He shut the door. He shut my husband inside there. Why? He didn't want his wife, who was coming behind him, to see that. Now, wait for it. Now, this is his own kind of upbringing. He's probably raised in a home where the father was this alpha male, macho, everything is done for him. He was just useless with his hand, couldn't do anything, right? But he has 2 hands, but everybody served him. Now, my husband and I see things differently. I respect my husband. I make effort to respect my husband because I know that he will never disrespect me. He doesn't just disrespect me. He doesn't even disrespect our kids, our boys. So there's a decent level of respect for everybody in my family. And that is how to treat human beings, so that you're living with a fellow human like you. So I think sometimes what we need to do, or what we have failed to do in this society, is that we were raising boys, raising males, instead of, you are raising boys to be men who are hard, strong, instead of raising humans. So the first way you can raise your child is to raise that boy or girl to be a human. And once he or she is a human being first, there's a milk of humanity that forms in that person.
Right.
And that person will always see the other human being
Right.
as himself. And there's a certain kind of love that transcends. You don't get that when you raise a child in, so like my daughter comes to me crying, or comes to his, like your daughter goes to her dad now, crying, say maybe the brother has beaten her. And then your husband is likely to just cuddle your daughter, listen to her, and, you know, pet her a bit. But then the same father, the son comes crying. Yeah, Chineye beat me. You know what the father says to him? And you are crying. And you are crying. You have to learn to be a man. So even what we are fighting for is to say, stop stifling our boys. Allow them have emotions, because human beings do have emotions. And it's all of these emotions that they've blocked and boxed these young men into a box of domination, a box of control, a box of, you know, be strong and other. Okay. You and I, Morayo, you and I know that there are men who are not physically strong.
Right.
You and I know that.
Yeah.
You have classmates that if you enter wrestling bout now, the woman will beat the boy. So some of these things, largely men are maybe seem to be physically stronger, but for where they are physically stronger, there's also an area of complementarity from the woman. So for me, I always like people to see both sexes from a place of complementarity of humans, right, than a place of gender. I am more superior than you are. That is the problem with the world. And that is the reason of all the violence you see. One of the major reasons for the height of violence you see. I tell you,